All right, so this is section 7.3, solving equations with variables on both sides, and this is part 1. We're going to do part 2 on Tuesday. Okay, so this looks a little different from the equations that we've done before. So before we've had something like this, like 24 equals 3m. But today we're working with equations where we have a variable on each side of the equal sign. So the goal is to get variables all on one side and get numbers on the other. So how I start this is I look at my equation. In this case, I have my 5m all by itself over to the right. So I would choose to move this negative 3m over to join the 5m. So how would you move negative 3m? What would be your inverse operation? It would be to add 3m. Okay, so then I would carry down this 24 equals, and then I have 5m plus 3m, 8m, which would give me 8m. And then I need to divide both sides by 8 to solve for m. So m would equal 3. Okay, so if we look at number 2, so here in this case, we have 4 terms because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then in the last problem, we only started with 3. So in this problem, there's 4, and technically, there are 4 ways you could start this problem. So we could all start in any of those 4 ways, and we should end up with the same answer at the end. Okay, so you don't necessarily have to start an equation like I'm going to show you how to start it, but I think what I do is probably the easiest method of starting the equation. So what I look at is I look at which x is smaller. So you have a negative 8x and a positive 4x. Which one is less?
4.
The negative 8x. Negative 8 smaller than 4. So then what I do is I move my smaller x over to my bigger x. So I have negative 8x. I'm going to do the inverse operation to get it over to the 4x. So I'm going to add 8x to both sides. Okay, so on the left, all I'm left with is 7. And on the right, I have 4x plus 8x. So that's 12x, and then I need to carry down this minus 17. Yeah.
Would you? No, I'll just let you teach.
Okay. So then the next thing is, my goal was to have numbers on one side, x's on the other. So right now I'm going to leave this 12x alone, and I'm going to move this 17. How would I move the 17? I would add 17 to both sides. So then I would have 24 equals 12x. And now I just have a one-step equation. So divide both sides by 12. So x would equal 2. Okay, so like I said, you don't have to start the equation like that. You could have started the equation with adding 17 or subtracting 4x, or you could have started with subtracting 7 over to the right, and you should still end up with x equals 2, no matter how you started it. You should still get the same answer. Okay, so I want you to pause your video and try this problem. All right, so like I said before, you could start this in a different way. So if you started your equation different from me, do not start erasing. We should still end up with the same thing. So I would choose personally to subtract c from both sides, so that on the left I would have 20 equals, and then 4c minus c would equal 3c, and then minus 7. So now I need to try to leave c there, and I need to move over the 7. So I would add 7 to both sides and get 27 equals 3c. And then I would need to divide both sides by 3. So C would equal 9. Okay, so next problem. What do you see that is different here?
Parentheses.
Parentheses. What do parentheses tell you to do?
Do it first.
Yes, so we have to do distributive property on the right-hand side. So I'm really not going to do anything with the left-hand side right now, so I'm just gonna rewrite it. And on the right-hand side, I need to distribute those parentheses. So 2 times 3z is 6z, and then 2 times -4 is -8. Okay, so then, now I'm back to what I had in the last couple of problems. So I'm gonna choose to move my smallest z. Which one's smaller? 5z. So I'm going to add or subtract it.
Subtract.
Subtract 5z from both sides. So I'm gonna end up with -2 on the left equals 1z, or I can just write z, minus 8. Okay, so now I'm going to leave z alone where it is. And I need to move the 8. How would I move the 8? Add 8 to both sides. So I would end up with 6 equals z.
This is kind of easy.
Okay, so the next one, I have to do distributive property again. On the left-hand side, I'm not gonna do anything with it in the first step, so I'm gonna rewrite it. And on the right-hand side, I have to distribute, so 5 times a.
6A. 5A.
It's 5a, and then 5 times -3. -15. Okay, so then if I move my smallest a, which one am I moving?
4.
The -4a, so how do I move it? Add 4a to both sides. So then 3 equals 9a minus 15. So then what would I do next? Add 15. So 18 equals 9a. Divide both sides by 9. So 2 equals a. Okay, on the next problem, I have to do distributive property again. So 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, then what would you do next?
Does that just make it 12?
So subtract 3x. So what is 3x minus 3x?
0.
0. 0 equals 12. I just heard you guys say that makes no sense. Does
Yeah.
0 equal 12? Does 0 equal 12? Is that true?
I guess. No.
Well, it should be X, right?
Okay, no, there's no x's anymore. If I have 3 x's and I take away 3 x's, I have no x's.
I'm like 940.
So 0, so does 0 equal 12?
No.
No, so
X
the
equals
answer to this is no solution.
We really that's what's my answer.
So no solution is actually an answer. So here are some things kids like to do sometimes. They like to say the answer for this is like no, or I can't do this, or can't do, or they make up other words to basically say no. No solution is actually the answer. Like that's actually what you put for the answer. Whenever you have a number equals a number and it's not true. So it can be, it doesn't have to be 0 equals 12. It could be like 5 equals 18 or 2 equals 11. It's as long as it's not true, the answer is no solution. Okay, so let's look at the last one. So what do you see that we need to take care of first? Do you have any parentheses?
No,
No.
you do the X's first.
Would you add 3x plus 2x?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I need to combine like terms on the right. So I'm going to rewrite what's on the left. And in the right, I have 3x plus 2x, which is 5x plus 4, okay? So then I would choose to subtract my 5x. So then I have 2 equals 4. And is that true? So this is no solution.
You did that really quick. Just different numbers.
Okay, so here is your, listen carefully, please. Here is your homework. I want you to skip number 13. Here's another common thing that I see. I will see students that get to a problem they don't know how to do and they just write no solution. Like, they just basically, anything now that they can't solve becomes no solution. That is not what I want you to do. So on your homework, there are only 2 no solutions. So on your homework, there are only 2 no solutions and everything else is solved.
Okay.